This is a macrophage cell. And this dude is a piece of bacterium. This is what happens to the bacterium when it meets a macrophage cell.
Oh!
A few moments later.
But before I can explain how Rainbow Six Siege relates to macrophages, I must tell you what the role of a macrophage cell plays in each one of us. Macrophages play an important role in the preservation of health throughout the body. They act as the first line of defense against infection and the clearance of viruses, bacteria, and other pathogens that threaten our body's immunity. In order to defend our body, monocytes in the blood are recruited into different tissues that then become fixed and free macrophages. I will use the video game Rainbow Six Siege to explain parallels between the body's elite fighting force and the defensive tactics utilized by Rainbow's highly trained operators. Rainbow Six operators use a variety of gadgets to counter the enemy depending on the situation they find themselves in. Using Frost instead of Kapkan may be more effective for certain areas of the map, just like how Osteoclasts specialize in bone health, while Langerhans cells are only found in the skin. Despite their differences, the mission of Team Rainbow is always the same, defending the objective. Although we don't contain a team like Rainbow Six to defend us, we do have the mononuclear phagocytic system. Even though the different macrophages are located in separate organs and tissues, they all carry out the same mission, to defend our health. Rainbow Six Siege is a first-person shooter that was first released in 2015 and somehow has stayed relevant for 8+ years. In Rainbow Six Siege, the defenders, or our macrophages, have 45 seconds to set up their defending area, while the attackers, the bacterium, try and gain information around the map. The building that the defenders are in is a lot like the body, and the different operators for Team Rainbow are a lot like the different monocytes within each person. Both the site setup for the operators and the body's immune system have essentially the same goal: defend against threats. The different operators in the game and the different cells within the body have different roles within the defense system. Here we have a free macrophage eating different bacterium throughout the body's bloodstream. And just as the free macrophages travel throughout the body defending against different invaders, Team Rainbow's operators travel throughout the map trying to prevent invading attackers from planting and defusing the bomb. If the attackers were to plant the bomb, the defenders have a short amount of time to interrupt the diffusion process. Like how if the body were to get sick, it is not the end of the world, but one has a short amount of time until major damage is done. One of the many explosive operators that are part of Team Rainbow is Kapkan.
These soldiers think their training will keep them alive. They break down doors and come through windows, weapons drawn. But it's too late. They forgot the first rule of survival. The real hunter always watches where he steps.
Macrophages strategically position themselves throughout the body to ambush pathogens and bacteria that travel through the bloodstream. Just like macrophages ambush pathogens, our hero, Kapkan, ambushes incoming attackers by strategically placing traps at common entry points throughout the different maps. Here I am on Theme Park and placing some traps in Train upstairs, a fairly common entry for attackers. Here we have an unknowing Blackbeard just kill Legion inside of the kitchen, which represents a pathogen entering the bloodstream and starting to infect the body. However, the Blackbeard is unaware of our first line of defense and walks right into our traps and pays the ultimate price. The Kapkan traps represent our body's fixed macrophages that can be found in a widespread number of places. For this example, we will use the lungs as our target organ for infection, and alveolar macrophages to counter our pathogen, Blackbeard. The Blackbeard attempts to enter the doorway just as a pathogen would try to enter through the alveoli of the lungs, but is met by our defense. The alveolar macrophage engulfs the attacker, releasing enzymes from its lysosome that digest the pathogen, taking Blackbeard out of the round for good.
Ready for company. Deploying welcome mat. Hostiles in my sight!
Some fixed macrophages aren't able to fully deal with pathogens, which is where free macrophages come into play. The entry denial device known as a frost mat in this clip acts as the fixed macrophage that confronts the attacker entering the building. Although the pathogen is stopped, it is able to break free from the trap and continue on. To counteract pathogens that aren't fully destroyed, fixed macrophages release chemicals that activate free macrophages and other cells that help in the body's adaptive immune response. As we can see in the clip, after the attacker escapes from the trap, our defender, Frost, reacts to the breach in the defense and eliminates the threat. This simulates how a lymphocyte would be alerted by the fixed macrophage, causing it to activate. The now active plasma cell then produces antibodies in response to the pathogen in order to fully destroy it. The war between invading pathogens and macrophages is a never-ending battle that we must stay ready for. Just like Rainbow Six's specially trained operators, macrophages must stay vigilant and be ready to face any enemy that comes their way. By ambushing, engulfing, and reinforcing weak spots throughout our body, macrophages create an impenetrable working force to keep us safe. Without them, we would all be lost in this germ-filled world. So if you ever find yourself playing Rainbow Six Siege, take a moment and appreciate that you have your own little defenders working 24/7 that lets you play video games pathogen-free and healthy.